Welcome to our presentation. In our presentation, we will be talking about guest room privacy. My name is Anya Isakov.
And my name's Natalie Rose Patam.
I'm Nina Claire Jose.
And I'm Jocelyn Vargas.
So we just want to remind everyone that we are the Marriott Hotel.
In the concept of the Marriott Hotel, we put people first. We pursue excellence, embracing change, acting with integrity, and serving our world.
We embrace change as the economy changes.
Marriott's hotel mission statement is to enhance the lives of our customers by creating and enabling unsurpassed vacation and leisure experiences.
Guest room privacy is ensuring that our guests have privacy in their own rooms, and respecting room privacy suggests that there should be no third-party intrusion in the peaceful enjoyment of the hotel room by the guests.
Just to go over the history of guest room privacy, every individual wants their own privacy, including ourselves for sure. And in fact, everyone deserves and has the right to their own privacy. And in the hotel world, we are expected to provide that level of protection and safety for everyone. Even with the growing age of technology, privacy is becoming more vulnerable to risks, whether it be online or in person. And with all of this in mind, it's important to remember that it is our job as hotel employees to respect the privacy of our guests. And the current legislation that we should know. So we must recognize that our guests' Fourth Amendment right to be protected from unreasonable searches and seizures is in place. And this also applies to hotels and motels, which is why we're going over this right now. If the hotel complies with any unreasonable search, this could bring a risk of civil liability. Only guests can consent to the search of their room. While hotel staff members may access the room for cleaning and maintenance during a guest stay, they are not authorized to allow police to enter the room. Thus, during a guest tenancy at the hotel, employees should not allow police to enter the guest's room without a search warrant. However, it's also important to note that Fourth Amendment protections don't apply after a guest tenancy expires. And then at this point, certain employees can gain authorization from the hotel to aid police in searching rooms when it's needed.
Respecting guests' privacy is personal information is data that, among other things, identifies, describes, or could reasonably be linked to a specific individual. We collect personal information in accordance with the law that is required or relevant for the transaction or interaction at issue, which may include the name, their gender, physical address, telephone number, email address, credit or debit card information, and photo identification, employer details, or important dates that guests share with us.
And just to add on to that, we should go over the check-in and check-out policies, procedures. Fourth Amendment protections depend on the guest's reasonable expectation of privacy in his or her room, which means that we must state our checkout policies in a manner that would not confuse a reasonable person. And just having that consistent communication with guests and enforcing our checkout policies can let them know when they can expect their privacy.
How to deal with the guests, owners, employees, and management. The main thing to keep in mind is not to sneak. Don't be intrusive and be respectful of guests. Always welcome guests with positive attitude. Reassure the guests that data will be protected. Employees and management should not share any information they have received from any guest to anyone. Inform other employees about respecting the privacy of guests. What would happen if a situation involving these individuals happen?
Now we are gonna go over situation and we are gonna inform the wrong actions and the right actions. Jessica Bristol and her two young children checked into a room on 104 of the Travel Inn Motel at 9 p.m. on Friday night. She produced a credit card issuing her name as a form of payment and requested that she was given a room for the 2 nights. On Saturday afternoon, a man identified himself as Preston Bristol. Miss Bristol's husband presented himself at the front desk and asked for a key that she was supposed to have left for him at the front desk. He stated that he was joining his wife and children at the motel. They were visiting relatives, but he hadn't worked the day before. The desk clerk replied that no key had been left and proceeded to call the room to inform Miss Bristol that her husband was at the front desk. There was no answer in the room. Mr. Bristol then produced a driver's license for the desk clerk, which had the same address that Miss Bristol had used on her registration card. Mr. Bristol also produced a credit card issued in his name with the same account number as the used by Mrs. Bristol at check-in. As the clerk pursued the license and credit card, Mr. Bristol offhandedly referred to a picture in his wallet of Miss Bristol and his two children. Based on the positive identification, the clerk issued Miss Bristol a key to Miss Bristol's room. At approximately 6 p.m. on Saturday, a guest in room 105 called the front desk to complain about the loud argument in room 104, Miss Bristol's room. The desk clerk called room 104 but got no answer. The clerk then called the local police. When they arrived, they found Miss Bristol badly beaten and her children missing. A description of Mr. Bristol's car quickly led to his arrest and the recovery of the children by the police. Miss Bristol recovered from her injuries and completed the divorce proceeding she had begun against her husband. In addition, she filed an assault and battery charge against him. She also sued the motel manager, owner, and franchise company for $8 million, stating that the motel was negligent and had violated her right to privacy. The motel position was that it acted reasonably to ensure Mr. Bristol's identity and that it was not an issue of guest safety and could not have foreseen Mr. Bristol's action. Now, let's go through some questions and take a time to read them. Now, let's go over to the question. Number 1. Did the desk clerk act in a reasonable manner?
I think we can all say that the desk clerk did not act in a reasonable manner. It was not right for them to assume that this man was her husband. And unless she explicitly stated that someone was going to be coming to get a key for her room, there was no reason why the desk clerk should have given him a key in the first place.
Right. Now, let's go to the question. Number 2. Did Mr. Bristol have the right to enter to the room?
No, I don't believe he did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. And now the last question will be, what should management do in the future to prevent such an occurrence?
Have a meeting about it and let the clerk and front desk know that no matter what identification they show, unless the guest stated that the person could have the key in their room, then that's the only time that the front desk should give the other guests the key to avoid any accidents like this one.
Right. We should always prioritize the guests that we have and their safety.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
Agreed. All right. So now we will go into the employee contract. This document is written to be signed by the company employee. This specifies rules employees must follow to ensure guest room privacy. It must have legitimate business reason to enter, usually cleaning. Always knock first. Honor the do not disturb requests on the doors of guest rooms. Do not allow police access without guest permission or a warrant. And that we highly recommend you to read this document thoroughly and to please sign it.
Mhm.
We also have the do's and don'ts document, and I'm just gonna give a brief summary of it, but make sure to revise it. Always preserve the privacy of our guests. This includes but not limited to guest names, room numbers, addresses, telephone numbers, credit card information, arrival and departure dates, and other personal information. To guarantee our guests' privacy, we should never disclose who is staying in our hotel to the media, vendors, or any outside agency without consulting the property general manager. The only occasion when information concerning a guest may be released is with the guest's written permission or as required by law. Do not make any statement regarding the company or our guests to the news, media, or any other outside agency. Direct any such inquiries to the general manager of your property of the corporate executive officer.
Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.